Hello everyone, Dave Hahn here. I'm going to talk to you how to complete this week's assignment of average if. What is average if? What is average if? It calculates the average of numbers that meet a specific condition, usually in a column. So instead of averaging everything in a column, it'll average only the data that meets your criteria that you set in the equation. The equation looks like this. The first part is the range. The second part is the criteria you're asking for. The third part is where you are looking for it, the average range. So for example, your range could be a category column, like column C here. The criteria could be, I only want to see the numbers of shoes or any price over 100. And the third part, the average range, are the numbers you want averaged. In this case, it would be the price ticket column. Next section here, I have some detailed explanations of what's happening with the included equations as examples, so you could use these. I do want you to look at these and then try to do these on your own without just copying and pasting. We have here some criteria in case you don't want to put a piece of text in here as your criteria. You can use a number or a greater than or less than number value. All of these criteria need to be in quotes here if it's a text or if it's a condition that needs to be met, like greater than 100. And then we have some more explanations here for absolute cell reference and how to also complete this if average if you're comparing it to a number that's in another cell. And we have the write-up here. So when are we going to do it? We need to do it for analysis, for store performance analysis. How's the category doing? Is the price too high or too low? You want to see how well it's selling, price threshold analysis, discount performance evaluation. It'll give you quick retail insights without going into pivot tables, which we'll be making soon. So let's get busy. I've already given you the data sheet and the analysis sheet, and I want you to do these 5 calculations and answer the questions here. All right, so I'm looking at my spreadsheet, and as you know, there's a difference between the data set, the array, and a table. So right now, these are not tables. This is just a bunch of data. And if I scroll down, I lose my header row. If you're in a scenario where you don't want to make a table for some reason, and you want to scroll down and you don't want to forget what's here in the top row, you can freeze this top row. I would like you to freeze this top row in the homework that I give you. You go to the View tab, click on Freeze Panes. You can click Freeze Top Row, and it will automatically keep that row no matter where you are on the spreadsheet. Now, just be aware that if you're down here on row 20, you may think this is the top row, but this is not actually the top row because we've frozen the top row. If you don't want to freeze the top row, you can always unfreeze or freeze the top row through the View tab. We can also just turn this into a table with Control-T, and it will show you my absolute cell reference for this table. It goes down 81 rows. My table has headers, and the same thing here. Now I can actually filter by a particular topic or item. Now that this is the table, I've added filters to my header row. The header row still does disappear. The same thing is true. I can go to my View tab and lock that top row if I want to keep it up there, which is kind of handy. Just make sure you know that you've scrolled down, that it goes from 1 to 14. That means you're missing 14 rows. If you didn't want to use if average, I suppose you could just go to your category and select for shoes only, and then go into your column here and then find your averages down here, which does work. But sometimes we have just giant spreadsheets. Some of this is not practical. We do have another sheet. Maybe your boss doesn't want to look at a whole spreadsheet, but just wants to see the bottom line here. So I have a little summary page that will retrieve the important information that we need, just the averages, so I don't need to muck through this entire spreadsheet. So we've created a second sheet. If your boss doesn't want to muck through the entire spreadsheet, they can go to this sheet and get the relevant averages here without having to go through all of that data. So let's tidy up this page a little bit, create a grid. I'm going to go from A1 to D5 and create and put my borders in. And now I'm going to find the average units for each of these categories, average tickets and average discount price. Now, just as review, to go back to our instructions in our module, the average if, you have your range, your criteria, then your average range. So the range of this question here, I want to find the average units of dresses. So I'll start out in this cell, I'll type in equals average if, double click on average if. I want to find my range, so I'm going to go back to my sales data tab, click inside my category column. I know in my examples here I have a very specific of C2 to C81. But I don't have anything under these tables, so I'm just going to go off into infinity, and that will allow us to have room for growth if we need to add something later. After I selected this first column as my range, I'll go comma. What am I looking for? I'm looking for dresses, I believe, comma. And then where am I looking? The average units sold right here, which is column E. I'll close my parentheses, hit enter. And I'm going to do the same for all of these. I don't have any data validation here. I can drag this down and I can change my criteria for each one since it's going to be the same. So I'm going to drag this down. After I've dragged this down, I could also go in here and just highlight, instead of dresses here, you can highlight a cell with that has text in it. So I'm going to click on the shoes. Instead of typing in quotes shoes, I'll just click on A3 here and see if that works. It does work. So let's go to accessories here. I'm going to click on the dresses part, and I can click on this cell that says accessories for this one. And again, or I could just go inside the quotes and type in handbag. There are, whoops, this was handbags. Got to spell it right with an S there. I can turn this into whole numbers by decreasing the decimal size. These are my average units. Average ticket equals average if. My range will be my category. What am I looking for? I'm looking for dresses again. And this time I'm going to be looking for average ticket price. Close parentheses, hit enter. There's my average ticket price. I can drag this equation down and duplicate it. I can go in and make adjustments to my search criteria. For cell C3, here's my equation. Instead of dresses, I could just click on, within the quotes, on shoes here. I think I lost my comma there, so I'm going to put a comma back in. Hit enter. Over here, instead of dresses, I'm going to get rid of the quotes too. And I'll click on accessories. And for handbags, again, you don't want to do that. You can just go inside the quotes and type in handbags. And average ticket, we can decrease our decimal size and then add some money. Some denominations of currency. Now we're going to find average discount. Same deal, equals average if, range for my average discount, my category, comma, we could do dresses, comma, and average discount. That's G here. Close parentheses. Hit enter. Here's my average discount. I can drag this down. We'll go in and we'll change the criteria here to follow each one. This time I'll just click right there. All right, now we have decimals. We're gonna convert this to percentage. Let's go to 1 decimal place here. And for the last one, average net sales for items priced over 100. Over 100.
Average net sales over 100.
All right, so what's the average net sale? How do we figure that out? I haven't shown you nested functions yet, but we could do a filter here because this is a table now and we do have these filter functions here. And this is what our table looks like already right now with many different prices, some 2 digits, some 3 digits. We can go to our number filter and say, show me only the numbers that are greater than or equal to 100 or greater than 100. These are all the numbers that are greater than 100. Then I can go back to my analysis here and just treat this like I did the other three. Equals average if. My range is my category, comma, quote, dresses, end quote, comma, and then our net sales. Hit enter. Now I can drag this down and then go fix my equations here. So instead of dresses here, I could just click on shoes. And over here, instead of dresses, I could click on accessories. And over here, instead of dresses, I could click on handbags. Turn this into money, currency, or accounting, and we have 2 decimal places. So that's good. And that's it. Oh, we have some questions here that you should follow. So I do want you to answer these 5 questions down below here in the analysis. Which category has the highest average units sold? Which category has the average ticket price? Et cetera, et cetera. Save your work, upload it. See you in the lab.